Christ's letters. Continuation of letter number 5. You already know, and by a process of meditation, you should have fully understood the nature of the Father and the nature of the Mother within the equilibrium of the universal dimension. Briefly, the nature of the Father is to be active, creative, and perform the work of creativity. It is also the I-ness of individualized existence. Everything living from a hornet to a hippopotamus has a strong sense of I-ness and the need to protect that I-ness. The nature of the mother is to give form to the electrical consciousness plan, initiated by Father Intelligence, by bonding the electrical particles together. Father and Mother consciousness, primary impulses, are both within the equilibrium and of the nature of the universal dimension, and consequently, as they create individual form, they carry out the work of the nature of the universal dimension, which is growth, providing nutrition, nourishment, healing, protection, fulfillment of need within a consistent system of law and order, survival. Father and Mother consciousness energies are impulses, both restrained within the universal dimension, and when they have been released from equilibrium, they powerfully perform the work of creation. Furthermore, consider the magnitude of their work within creation throughout the world. The Father-Mother impulses prompt every level of creation from the formation of elements, the living molecule and cell, to the magnificent mammoth. They also work instinctually within parents to prompt them to unify, to conceive, bear and rear their young. Some fathers absent themselves after the birth of their progeny, be they eggs, puppies, or humans. These are the fathers whose sense of I-ness is greater than their inborn fathering instincts. Number 8. Impulses. The reality behind and within all creation. It is at this point that you must become fully aware of the meaning of impulse. You may think that this seems a very nebulous form of creativity, but if you reflect for a while, you may eventually realize that no human or animal or insect or even plant undertakes any activity within the material dimension without an inner consciousness coercion, which is an impulse. It may be turned to face the sun, to run, to eat, to work, to sleep, to go shopping, to have a baby. Always, the impulse precedes the activity, even the flick of an eyelid. Furthermore, there is no impulse prompting any activity which is not directed by a purpose. Plants turn flowers and leaves to catch the rays of the sun for growth. People run to get fit, eat to satisfy hunger, work to earn a salary, sleep to escape the tensions and recharge the energy, go shopping to buy food, all directed at survival and personal comfort. Therefore, the impulses are the reality behind and within all creation. If all matter were to return to its original form of electrical particles, the universal impulses would remain intact and would eventually give form to another creation. The impulses are forever. However, electrical particles within living matter are here today and gone tomorrow, but the soul moves on. You think with electrical impulses in the brain. You feel with magnetic impulses in your nervous system. They center and bond the electrical impulses into a cohesive whole. Without the magnetic bonding in your system, you would be all go go and no, no, no. Now is the moment to take you back to my desert experiences described to you in letter 1. You may remember that when I went to the river Jordan to be baptized by John, I was a rebel. My face set against the teaching of the Jews who stated that Jehovah punished men for their sins. Intuitively, I felt that this was a false and cruel concept and I rejected it. After I was shown the truth concerning creation, I could not understand why perfect consciousness did not create perfect beings made in the image of their Creator, intelligent love. I asked the Creator, universal consciousness, why mankind has endured so much suffering and evil. I was then shown very clearly that all the problems experienced by humans arose from the central point of the self. Science now calls this the ego. It manifested itself in the personality as a driving need to defend the self from criticism or emotional or physical attack, and a similar driving need to push aside other people in order to arrive first in the race of life. It also manifested itself in the personality as a driving need to take all that was best for the self despite the opposition of others, and a similar driving need to hold on to personal possessions, be they relatives, friends, material goods or achievements, despite any opposition. I was also made to understand that without these two fundamental, eternal, undeviating impulses of creative being, there would be no creation. This is the secret of creation, and the secret of existence and of individual being. By working together as a team, separately but inseparable, in the visible world, these twin impulses were the means by which the substance of matter itself has been created out of the sublime universal consciousness. One impulse of creativity is the I-ness of activity. This impulse of activity is universal and stems from only one source. Activity is a movement in consciousness, and consciousness in movement. The other creative impulse possesses, figuratively speaking, two faces looking in opposite directions. They are bonding, rejection, pull towards the self, push away, otherwise known as attraction, repulsion. Attract to the self from repel within consciousness. These are the only means by which earthly existence has been achieved. The entire universe is a manifestation of the creative power active within these twin impulses of physical being, creating matter and individual form. This is one of the fundamental secrets of the universe. I saw that the core of the personality or ego, as it is now called, had been created guardian of personality and was irresistibly imprinted with the magnetic impulse to ensure privacy and survival for the protection of the individual I-ness. This was accomplished by using the two phases of the second impulse of being, bonding rejection, to secure individuality. The phase of bonding drags, draws, attracts, demands, pulls, buys, grabs, clutches, clings to the people and possessions it craves. This impulse creates an illusion of security in togetherness and possessions. It is the tool of Mother Consciousness, inspiring the building of families, communities, and nations. It can be productive of beauty, joy, harmony, and love. It can also wreck lives and destroy communities when it is ego-driven. The face of rejection repels, thrusts aside, pushes away, evades everything, people, animals, possessions it does not want. Thus, the impulse of rejection creates an illusion of privacy and security. It is the impulse that urges rifts in families, relationships, communities, and nations. It is supposedly geared to saving lives, ensuring protection and privacy, but is a destructive force when it is ego driven. Within these twin impulses of being, all things would have remained forever merged into one another within the eternal timelessness of universal creative power in equilibrium. Without these twin impulses, there would be no interplay of give and take and pull and push necessary to the creation of the millions of personal experiences out of which personality grows and evolves. Therefore, the problem of personality and the ego drive endured by all living things and mankind was or is an irrevocable, unavoidable fact of creation. Any other explanation is pure myth. I saw that when men called sin was the direct result of the interplay of the bonding rejection impulses within human nature. The bonding rejection impulses constituted the emotional, mental mask worn by all created individual entities, including birds and animals. You see these impulses at work within all of nature, even within plant life. The bonding rejection impulses directed or directs the behavior towards survival of all entities in creation. There was no escaping the bonding rejection impulses. These twin impulses were the ephemeral source of all worldly comfort, pleasure, happiness, and also the source of all sickness, misery, and deprivation in the world. However, added to this, transcending, underlying, and interpenetrating all was or is the life. Born of the explosion of universal consciousness, is the very foundation and source of earthly consciousness. Therefore, even as the Father-Mother consciousness is creative, so is man's thinking creative. For human thought and feeling are both the exercise and union of the twin tools of Father-Mother consciousness. Therefore, these impulses of bonding rejection in the individual personality also became highly creative in that they determine and make visible the consciousness forms of things desired and things rejected. This is the second fundamental secret of the universe. I saw that sin was an artificial concept expediently devised by men to describe any human activity causing pain to others, because of their natural make-up of grabbing from other people and of rudely repelling them in order to get what they wanted from life. It was inevitable that all human beings would, at some time, cause other human beings some form of distress or suffering. This human propensity to hurt others in no way caused offense to universal consciousness or God, as was affirmed by the Jewish and Christian religion. Only mankind understood the meaning of the word sin, since only mankind and all of creation subject to mankind would ever know the pain, deprivation, and misery caused by the two fundamental impulses of individuality, bonding, rejection, active within the human personality. This is it for today. Thank you. I love you. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Bye.